getting a lot of criticism from supporters saying you got to spend your money, you got to respond to the ads. You cannot let your opponent define you as she did early on, and you did what?
So what the heck happened? Now you're neck and neck.
Well, I think being on your show last time caused me to surge. It's just fantastic.
Wow, usually we kill
your careers here.
Yeah.
Free media.
Well, she spent $50 million before it even got started. Now, people said, so respond, but I wasn't going to spend that obscene amount of money.
Do you think she started too early?
Absolutely. Now there's a backlash. People are sick and tired of her negative ads that are wrong. It's a smear campaign. She's spending way too much money.
She spent a lot of money on this show.
So am I.
We've seen some of those negative ads.
By the way, we've been brought to you by Steve Poizner for quite some time now.
Yes. Meg was first, but maybe that wasn't the right step.
Here's the thing. The voters are digging in now. The last 2 months of the campaign, like I told you the last time I was on the show, that's when the voters are really going to zero in on what really makes a difference. We know that we're in a major meltdown now. This is the worst economic crisis in 160 years. The voters like my message. They want to cut taxes across the board because our tax structure is driving businesses and jobs out of the state of California. They know that we need to do something about illegal immigration, and I've had the guts to lay out a very specific plan to stop the flow of people who come here illegally.
You are for the law in Arizona?
Absolutely for the law in Arizona. What the city council here in LA did yesterday is just a big mistake. Here at LA, and this is similar to other cities around the state, LA's got a lot of serious financial problems. They can't balance the budget. Jobs are leaving Los Angeles. The Los Angeles City Council should focus on those issues. This is more of a political stunt on their part. The people in Arizona had enough. The federal government wasn't addressing the problems of protecting the borders of Arizona. Illegals were pouring into Arizona, impacting their public education system, their healthcare system. Arizona finally took power into their hands.
Part of what's happened here, Steve Poizner, is that the state of California, the federal government, have been strong on the California border, much stronger than they used to be, which is driving people to go to Arizona.
Other places,
to pass over.
I was at the border just a few days ago in San Diego, and you're right. Our tough border security in San Diego diverts people, to other places. It causes people to come here illegally along our shoreline, or sends people to Arizona. But there's still a lot of holes on the California border. You should have seen the holes in the fences. I took about a 3-hour tour with the U.S. Border Patrol. They take out these power saws, drill holes, and crawl through, and then the U.S. Border Patrol has to patch it up. I was in a tunnel right there on the San Diego-Mexico border, 70 feet down, miles long.
Those are shocking.
But the drug cartel spent millions building that tunnel. The borders are not secure, I can tell you that.
Then you look at the faces of the people that have come over, that have lost, that have died, women carrying children, walking hundreds of miles to have a better life for themselves. Like, to me, it makes my heart sad. I believe everybody has a right to happiness.
Do you know, I believe a lot of people in California are very compassionate folks, just like we all are. And we care about people. These are people. But at the end of the day, the status quo is just not going to work here. And we can't take care of our own citizens right now. The state's bankrupt. What we've been doing over the last 20 or 30 years has been a disaster. We now have a $20 billion budget deficit. We're laying teachers off. People come here illegally, pour in. It causes public education resources to be spread very thin. I was a volunteer teacher in a public high school for a year. I saw it firsthand. As insurance commissioner, I spent a lot of time in emergency rooms over insurance issues. I see our healthcare resources being spread very thin.
But our state's not broke because of illegal immigrants.
It's one of the reasons. And I want to be a truth teller here. And the fact is, legal immigration is fantastic for California. It's been a boon. Illegal immigration has got to stop. Because we spend billions and billions of dollars each and every year on taxpayer-funded benefits for people who come here illegally.
But the complication is, and I don't want to do this whole segment on that, but the complication is if you got rid of every illegal immigrant in the state of California today, the state would fall to its knees tomorrow because there's a lot of reliance on that labor.
Well, the fact is we have a 12.6% unemployment rate. That's the official unemployment rate. If you add in all the people who are underemployed, have part-time jobs but need full-time jobs, plus all the people who just quit looking, and that's 20%. There's 4 million Californians that are either underemployed or unemployed. That is depression-level misery, and people who come here illegally drive up the unemployment rate.
Why are you opposed to medical marijuana?
And by the way, let me just say that I support the right kind of guest worker program where people apply from their home country to come here to help in certain sectors where we need the help. In Silicon Valley, where I ran companies, I hired people from all over the world. We want people to come here legally to help our economy. I oppose. I don't oppose the marijuana when it's been prescribed by a doctor for medical reasons, but I oppose legalizing marijuana for recreational use. So when I was a teacher at a high school in a low-income area, I was teaching 12th grade American government. I asked my kids, what do you think about legalizing marijuana? And they all told me about their own personal experiences with pot. But the fact is,
Some of those kids have cards and they get it.
Did you ever
Legally.
smoke pot?
never. But they all told
Really?
me.
But you have drinks. I mean, you can drink and get a
Yeah, but-
buzz. What's the difference?
They told me, though, if you legalize marijuana, you're going to increase the usage of it. You know the reason why they want to legalize marijuana now is because they want to tax it
Right.
to help
But
balance
hey-
the budget.
hey, we
What a
are-
crazy
we are
reason.
broke.
that. What's
What
the problem?
What a crazy reason to legalize drugs because
Well,
we have a
need
budget
it.
deficit.
I don't care how crazy the reason is. Get us out of debt. If it helps, what's
No,
the problem?
well, we need to balance the budget. No more taxes, no more fees, no more gimmicks, no
But
more
how-
smoke and mirrors.
How
We're
would you
spending way
balance the budget? Just give me like one or two things
Yeah.
you would do immediately.
By the way, I do have a $20 billion plan on my website. Can I mention it? StevePoizner.com. You know, I am an entrepreneur.
How'd you come up with that name?
I'm an engineer. I like to fix things. I like to build things. And so I've gotten into the trenches. I've gone through every line of the 1,200-page budget, and I have a plan to cut spending the smart way by $10 billion. For example, welfare. Now, I believe in the safety net program, but the fact is we have 12% of the population here in California and over 30% of the welfare cases in the country. It's like a magnet. Why? Well, because our welfare system is one of the most attractive in terms of benefits in the country, and we don't enforce the work rules.
Would you radically change the size of government in California, and can you?
Yeah, but look at what I've done at the Department of Insurance. I'm proud to be the state's insurance commissioner. It's only one of 8 elected statewide positions. My 18-year-old daughter teases me, and all the time that do I have the most boring job in the state? The insurance commissioner is a fantastic job. I oversee the entire insurance market. It's a $160 billion business, and I have over 1,000 employees that help me do this. So when I got there 3.5 years ago, I did a top-down review and overhaul of this sleepy state agency. My operating expenses now have been permanently reduced by 15% because of this top-down review. I want to do for the entire state of California what I did for the Department of Insurance. We can save billions and billions of dollars each and every year if we just simply modernize.
I'm sorry you're getting played off. Of course, there were Meg Whitman commercials saying that what you did in your department was spend a lot of money. You've seen those commercials,
Those
I'm
are
sure.
false. They're wrong.
Okay.
The Sacramento Bee called her, well, it was their words, they called her a liar. It's false.
Do you have the high road for being slightly less negative than Meg has gone?
Well, I had to set the record straight. I had to talk about the differences. That's what campaigns are about.
New technique.